Hey, Hockey fans, how's everybody doing? Hope everyone has had a great weekend. I didn't do a video yesterday, but I said I would do one today for Monday games. We did do one for Saturday games, and that turned out not too bad. We almost had a great night if Washington would have been able to close that game out. But our $100 continued to grow. Now it's at 108.19. I posted those results, so hopefully that's easy for everyone to access and take a look at. But we're going to talk about some games for Monday, and we'll make some quick picks, and we'll see if we can continue to make that little pot grow. There was supposed to be 7 games on the board, but there's 4 of them now, I think, that have been postponed. Minnesota, Winnipeg has been postponed. Columbus, Montreal has been postponed. Tampa, New Jersey has been postponed. And then I believe it's the Ottawa, Vancouver game that's been postponed. So there's only 3 games that are actually being played. Some good games, though. There's an East matchup where we have Boston against Washington. Washington is 4-3-3 in their last 10 with a current overtime decision as a streak. Samsonov listed to be in net for the Caps. Boston has Linus Ullmark listed to be in net. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. Current 1-game winning streak. The Caps, they sit 3rd in the Metropolitan, 1 point behind Carolina and the New York Rangers. Last action Saturday when Washington faced the Minnesota Wild, it looked like Washington had the game, but with less than a minute left in the game, the Wild tied the game, and the Caps' would-be victory was spoiled in the shootout. It was a 3-2 final for Minnesota. Fucale, he played a great game for Washington. He was named one of the stars. Both goalies in that game were actually named stars of the game. And obviously impressive by the Wild. The Caps should have closed that game out, and they should have went away with the W. Ovechkin did get back on the points board with a helper in that game, continues to tally those points. Washington has acquired points in 2 of their games so far this calendar year, but they have not recorded a W this calendar year yet. Now, a home game when the Caps have Boston visit. The Bruins, 4th in the Atlantic. They played their last game Saturday as well against the defending champs, Tampa. Final of 5-2 for Boston. Pasternak and Marchand both with a couple goals in that game. Boston is 4-1 this calendar year. The only loss that they've incurred so far is against the same team that Washington lost against in their last matchup, which is the Minnesota Wild. Boston, who was almost 100% healthy when they came back off of that Christmas COVID break, and now they're missing some pieces again. Jake DeBrusk, Carson Coleman, Thomas Nozak, all COVID concerns, and then Nick Foligno out with an injury. Charlie McAvoy could be back for this game, I think. And then Washington, you've obviously got Nicholas Backstrom and TJ Oshie, who had some illness concerns. They could possibly be back in the lineup for this game as well. This is a first of 3 games this regular season between these teams. Money line has Boston set at plus 100 or an even 2.0. Washington minus 120 or 1.83. The over-under set at 5.5. I kind of like the underplay here. 1.95 or minus 105 for the under 5.5 in this game. They played 2 preseason games. Washington won 1-4-3 and Boston won the other one 3-2. Boston's kind of had the Caps number last year in that short season. They played quite a bit of hockey. But I'm going to go to the home team here. I'm going to go to Washington and win this game. I see Washington coming out. There's a little anger in their game from last short season against this team. And Caps going to win that game. That's my pick. Next game, we have a West battle here. Seattle against Colorado. Colorado 9-1-0 in their last 10. Current 4-game winning streak. Pavel Francouz listed to be in net for the Avalanche. Seattle has Philip Grubauer listed to be between the pipes with a 2-6-2 last 10 record, current 2-game losing streak. Colorado currently tied with Pittsburgh. Both teams have the best last 10 record currently going. Currently 3rd in the Central with the best goal differential in that division at a plus 34. Played an incredible comeback from behind game. Played Saturday against Toronto. They were down in that game 4-1 at one point, but no quit. They continued, and 5-4 final in overtime. The W for Colorado. As the game went on, it was kind of more and more Colorado that game. They outshot the Leafs in every period, but the third period, I think it was 19-5. Total was 49-27. Yeah, I mean, it was hard work for them. I mean, all goals were 5-on-5. There were no power play goals there for them. Colorado 0 for 4 on the power play win man advantage. They're a perfect 4-0 this year. 20 goals in the last 4 games. Just impressive, this Colorado team. I'm sure a lot of people thought they were going to lose against Toronto, and I wish I would have laid some money on them when they were down 3 goals to Toronto. Would have been a good wager. Seattle has played 1 game this year, and it was on New Year's Day when they lost to Vancouver. The final score in that game was 5-2 for the Canucks. They had 3 other games that were scheduled before this one. All of them have been postponed. Teams have met once back on November 19th when Colorado won that game 7-3. Grubauer has lost his last 7 games that he's been in, and his last 9 games he's let in 3 or more goals, where the puck has found the back of the net. It's the worst NHL season that he's had in his career. I don't know what's going on with Grubauer, but he's not playing the hockey that he's capable of, that's for sure. This is his second of a 3-game series. At Seattle, I mean, Vince Dunn, day-to-day, possibly could be in the lineup, maybe not. Jaden Schwartz is definitely out for this one. And then Alexander Wenberg, I think he may be back in the lineup, not sure again. There's always unknowns with players. Tests happen in the morning, we see what happens, right? Money line plus 3.1 or 4.1 for Seattle. Colorado minus 390 or 1.25. You could probably look at Colorado on the puck line minus 1.5 here if you wanted to. Over under set at 6.5. It's one of those games where Colorado's favored so heavy, and there's no reason in the world why Colorado should lose that game. But as far as risk reward goes, I'm probably not going to put any money on that game. And I said earlier, Ottawa-Vancouver game is postponed. That's incorrect. It's Ottawa-Edmonton game that was postponed. Then the last one that we have to talk about, the New York Rangers against the LA Kings. The LA Kings 6-3-1 in their last 10, current 1-game winning streak. Jonathan Quick listed to be in net for LA. The Rangers, Alexander Gorgiev listed to be in net. Gorgiev, I think is how it's pronounced. I always get that one wrong. 5-4-1 in their last 10, current 1-game winning streak. The LA Kings in a tight Pacific race sitting 4th. Saturday, a 4-0 blanking over Detroit. LA doubled up Detroit in shots as well, 42-21. 3 of the goals were 5-on-5, and then they also had a shorthanded goal in that game. No other way to look at it than, they're playing fast hockey. They're firing everything on the net, and they're playing loose. I mean, they're playing they're streaky. I think I've mentioned before, I find them streaky, but I also find them comparable to Vancouver, where they could snap out of it, and I think they could be on an uptrend here. I mean, the game before that was a loss to Nashville, where they lost 4-2, but they threw 48 shots on net in that game as well. Their goaltending's been decent. They sit 8th in goals against, and they've won 3 of their last 4 games. So I think they could be turning a corner here. I mean, tight race, right, in that division. I think there's 4 teams that are separated by 2 points. Playing a very strong New York Rangers team who sit 3rd in goals against. Saturday against a game against Anaheim, when New York ended up on the right side of a 4-1 final victory for the Rangers. They held Anaheim to 14 shots on goal while firing 40 on the Ducks goaltender. And that was without Panarin, right? And Panarin's supposed to be back in the lineup for this game. The Rangers sit tied for the first place Carolina team, both of them with 50 points. And they're going to look for a victory here because then they'd have sole place of first. Both teams affected a little bit with COVID and injuries, but considering nothing that serious, this is a first of a 2-game series. LA has had the edge historically. They have a 16-10 record. I think they have an advantage with the goalie matchup here. It's been almost 2 years since these teams have met, and New York won that game the last time they did meet 4-1. If you look at across comparison data, common components it's just common opponents this season. Both teams sit at an even 62%, so there's no real edge there. But there's 3 games, and 3 favorites obviously are the Rangers, Washington, and Colorado. Those are the 3 favorites, and I'm picking 2 favorites already. Here, I kind of like LA. I like LA to pull out a win. Our $100 that we started with a couple days ago when we started this $100 thing that we're doing is now up to 108.19. For Monday, the best bet that I'm going to lay, I'm going to go Washington at 1.83. I'm going to lay $5 down there, and then I'm going to parlay LA and Washington. Both of them pay at 1.9 or minus 110, depending how you want to look at it. So I'll go 2, 2, and then 2 on the parlay there. And then I'm going to do that Washington, Boston under 5.5. Pays 1.95, and I'll do 3 there. So risk a total of $14, and then we'll see where we're at the end of Monday. And I think I'll try to do videos for Tuesday and Wednesday games as well, and just see if we can continue to grow this pot. Again, hope everyone had a great weekend, that you have a great start to the week on Monday. Regular picks, I'm just going to go LA to beat New York. I'm going to go Colorado to beat Seattle, and then I'm going to go Washington to beat Boston. And then obviously I'll post the results of the bets that we lay, just so everyone can see exactly where things are going and be as transparent as I possibly can. Thanks again. Have a great Monday. Good luck with your picks. Talk soon.